This is Rob.
This is Brian.
This is Eric.
Oh, we're probably not going to edit shit out, but, you know.
I need to hear another classic adventure from you two. I remember you guys went to China for something.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of those classic Brian and Rob adventures.
Right.
Yeah, working on a movie that Brian got that involved American effects for a Hong Kong cinema movie.
Yeah, it was a project called Jiangxi. And forgive me if I'm not pronouncing that in the correct way.
It was put out by Michelle Yeoh's company,
Yeah.
who was like the queen of Hong Kong.
And wasn't Jackie Chan involved in that?
I do not remember if Jackie Chan was involved or if he had just been part of a project that she had just finished right before we started on this one.
Their offices in Hong Kong had a lot of Jackie Chan shit in there, though.
Did you see Michelle Yeoh? Did she come out?
No.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been, yes.
Well, start us off. How'd that project come about?
From what I remember, because it was obviously quite a while ago, we had just finished up on Jeepers 2, or Jeepers 2 had come out, and the producers for the Jiangxi movie were in town for some sort of movie festival or something, and they wanted to meet the guys that did Jeepers Creepers 2. So they set up an appointment and came out to the studio, and it actually was like really great timing because the stuff that and I hadn't even seen a script for it yet. Did we ever see a script for it?
No, we had a script because I remember we did a script read through it.
Oh, okay. We had the husk of the creeper laying on a table in the B unit. And when they showed up, they were like really intrigued by the look of that thing because their script had husks of the warriors or
the zombie
whatever.
Sorcerer guys.
Yeah. So it like played right into their needs. And here they had something three-dimensional, not conceptual, to actually look at. And I'm like, well, yeah, this from the movie, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, from that point, we put a budget together. They accepted the budget. We started to build stuff. And the design, they were submitting designs for these characters that, and of course, it's going to be a martial art film. They were submitting these designs. There's no way their conceptual art designs would work proportionately for performers in suits. So stuntman or actors, they would have had to find people that were 18 inches wide and 7 feet tall to do it. So I remember suggesting
like the anime looking
it wasn't even anime. It was just a very stylized design, kind of the way a fashion designer will design stuff, but a fashion designer's designs are always stretched and long and tall looking and don't necessarily translate to actual human proportion. And I remember doing overlays of actors to show them how impractical the proportions of these designs were. And I don't know if it was a language barrier or whatever, or a cultural thing, but they were really steadfast on us sticking to the design. And I had to really show them that you're going to have to make a compromise if you want actors in suits to be doing this. And again, that would have been around 2002. So
yeah, I mean, it sounds familiar around that time because there's a lot going on around that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like
after the creeper
digital manipulation and enhancements and stuff still wasn't a commonplace thing that you could sit there and tweak something like a guy in a suit to look 18 inches wide and 7 feet tall.
I think it was more of the case of it not being an affordable option at the time.
Okay, yeah. We went back and forth on a lot of that, and then a decision was made to have us go to Hong Kong to life cast a couple of the stunt performers. So Rob and I packed up and we went to Hong Kong for I think a week.
Yeah, we were there for like at least 5 days, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when it was initially talked about having to go to Hong Kong, that was kind of a package deal in a sense of all these accomplishments that need to happen over there. For one, we're going to meet the Hong Kong team.
Right.
All the people in production that's over there. We were going to do live casting while we were there. And we were also going to scout for places where we can get supplies at, as well as see the facility that we were going to be working in.
Right, right.
So we had all these different things on there. So it wasn't just going there just to do live casting. It was just there was like a big mission of sorts to do all kinds of things while we're there.
Right.
During the middle of SARS.
Well, yeah, and that was the other thing. We got all of that
right as we're leaving. They're like, "Oh,
casting.
SARS is happening. What the fuck is SARS? Oh, people are dying all over the place. It's mostly in China, though."
Yeah, I remember sitting in the airport in the first class lounge watching CNN, and they were talking about closing the Hong Kong airport, and we're like, we've got 45 minutes to go before we get on a plane, and it was like, are we going to be stuck in Hong Kong? You know, what's happening here? And sure enough, we got on the plane, and they shut the airport down, like an hour after we left?
Yeah, it was pretty intense because, we're on the plane, and how did we find, I mean, I don't think we found out anything until after we arrived in Hong Kong.
Oh, about there being a disease
or no. We knew that there was some stuff going on there, and so
I don't recall any of that.
So the way it kind of went down was like the week prior to our departure, and mind you, the show was still building. We still had weeks and weeks, like a month and a half of still building the show.
Yeah.
But we had to go out there early so we can meet with the production and get live casts and just, kind of find our way around so we knew what we were doing over there once we got there with the rest of the gang.
Right, yeah.
So like a week or so before we left, there was like these rumblings of this, influenza that was going around in China, and it was this thing called SARS, and that it was killing people, mostly elderly people or newborns that were getting sick from it. But it was just, we looked into all this stuff before we left, obviously. And it was just a matter of the best advice you can get was, cover your face with something and constantly wash your hands. And so, having that advice, that's the stuff that we were thinking about as far as once we went. But we got on the plane, and remember, it's, we're monitoring like on the internet the best we could back in the time when the internet had decent news for you.
Yeah.
By the time we got there and onto the plane and took off, we arrived, and apparently like they had stopped doing flights to Hong Kong at that point in time because for whatever reason it was getting out of hand over there. Yeah, and there we were in the Hong Kong airport.
Was it just you and Brian, Rob?
Yeah, it was just Brian and I. Brian didn't need to pack an entire crew to come out there for it.
Yeah, because, I mean, it was a couple of days of live casting, and then the rest of it was going around town being shown where hardware stores were, and they took us out to the location, which was an old abandoned factory that they were going to be using as the sound stages, and the very roomy studio, makeup effects studio area that we would have been using to prep and finish the build and all that. We had actually looked into having a little workshop closer to production offices, but and we checked that out. But then when we saw how big and well lit the actual soundstage area was, it was like, okay, this is where we're going to do the build, finish the build and do everything, because it's right here, right next to the sound stages. It was very dirty because it hadn't been used for anything in quite a while.
I want to say like it had open windows in the place, and it was really cold.
Yes.
Cold and wet.
Cold and wet. Yeah, it was a very damp experience, and it was actually very far away from our hotel and the production offices. I forget how long a drive that was.
I want to say we went under a harbor.
Oh, we went under a harbor. So we did a tunnel underneath.
There's a tunnel that you, like a freeway that you kind of drive under the harbor to get from one side to the other, as opposed to them having a bridge.
Right. I don't remember a lot of that.
I specifically remember going like, oh, we're underwater. Yeah.
Wow. You remember more about it than I do.
Soaking it in. For some reason, I can access certain memories like that. I'm like, oh, yeah, that happened.
So now, while you were there, what else did you guys do?
We had dim sum.
Yeah, like on the 30th floor of some shopping mall somewhere downtown. And it was like stepping back in time because everybody was smoking in there. I remember that. but it was cool. It was real Chinese cooking. And then we went to they took us to a Mexican, wasn't it a Mexican restaurant?
Spanish. It was
a
Spanish.
Oh, Spanish.
Because we thought Mexican. They're like, oh, do you like Spanish food? And we're like Mexican? Yeah, we like Mexican food. No, it wasn't the same.
And the only thing
I
I came away from that was that they brought out little like snack bowls while you're waiting for your entree to show up, and they looked like little slivers of almonds, baked almonds, but they were actually very thinly sliced baked garlic chip, and they were so good. I was like, oh, I'd be happy just eating this all night. This is so good.
There was more to it than that. They brought out that nice big sizable bowl. Now, mind you, when you're eating there in Hong Kong, they do family style eating where they just put plates on the table full of food, and everyone just, I don't recall people having a plate of their own. I think it's just everyone just kind of dipped into all the different plates as they wanted it. But they had this bowl they brought out as an appetizer full of these silvery minnows that were deep fried with glazed over eyes, and they ate them like chips.
Oh, I vaguely
goodness.
remember that, but I could think that Robert, being the finicky eater that he is, was like, ooh.
Yeah, I just don't eat seafood. I'm just not a big I can eat seafood, but I just don't eat it all the time.
But we had a restaurant on like the top floor of our hotel that was like a real nice fine dining place, and we were like, after a few days of the local food, we were like, we need a good steak. And we went up to this restaurant, and it overlooked a soccer field, and there was some sort of soccer competition going on in town that week.
Yeah, I remember there's a lot of people from Australia hanging out in the Hong Kong area. I remember we're in an elevator and we had these Australian guys dressed as women because they lost a bet.
Oh, right.
And it wasn't like, it was like they were badly dressed as women, like really bad fright wigs, and like they were wearing like a dress over a t-shirt type thing. And,
right.
it was just like more of the being humiliated amongst friends or something like that. You lost a bet, you got to wear a dress to the match.
Right. But I remember those steaks being good. It was Kobe. It was Kobe beef. I never had a Kobe beef steak like that before, so that was cool. And looking out that big window over the soccer field to the mountains, you just expected Godzilla to step over those mountains because you'd seen that terrain in so many Godzilla movies.
Yeah, it's crazy, but like one of the things that I really couldn't get over the fact, I mean, it's like we're both from Southern California. We know what LA looks like. We know what skyscrapers look like, but when you see skyscrapers sitting on top of mountains, you're just sitting there going like, oh my God, hell no. Like, this is like an earthquake disaster right here, ready to happen.
What about the taxi rides?
Oh, fuck. Yeah. It's like you had Richard Petty driving, just like whipping through the streets and stuff like that.
And the alleys.
Yeah. And you had like the clearance of like 3 inches between a wall and another car, and they're just like whipping through like it's nothing.
Yeah. And how we never hit anyone, or another car is still amazes me to this day, because those guys were maniacs.
Yeah, I remember just like sitting in that seat, looking out the window, my eyes looking straight down the door that's next to me, and I'm looking to see the gap between us and the other car, and it's like there's like a few inches. It was like nuts, and I'm just like, wow. Anytime like I'd have relatives that would come out here to LA and they would complain about the traffic, I'm like, you have no idea what the hell traffic and mad driving is at this point. You like, no way in hell. This is a breeze compared to what that is out there. It was cool though. If you like, the good thing is that you don't get a lot of jaywalkers.
No.
If you decide to cross on a red, you're taking your life into your own hands. It's kind of like that scene in RoboCop when the guy splashes through the other guy that's like melting.
Yeah, right.
It's like that's probably what happens out there. That's the only thing I can assume that happens if you decide to jaywalk.
Now, there's a lot of people in Hong Kong, and I want to say the city, even back then, was like a lively 24-hour city. What else did you guys do?
The city wasn't as lively during the day, and I'm assuming that's because of what was going on with SARS, that there wasn't as many people out and about, because it seemed like at certain points in time that was kind of dead. But at nighttime, that was like one of the last nights that we were there when they took us to that sushi restaurant. It was packed. Like the streets were like filled with people and stuff. And it was just like, it was like their Friday night and everyone's like, screw this, we're going out.
It's interesting with well, it's not a pandemic at this point, an epidemic flowing around like flu the way it was, and the concern that people were still going out and doing stuff. Now, Asian people tend to wear a lot of masks, anyways. Were they wearing masks?
Yeah, and I would think that a lot of that was just to cover up the smell of the buckets of guts that were all sitting at the edge of the sidewalk everywhere we went. That was weird and ugly and gross.
Well, when we were there, I remember we were talking about this when we were there about, seeing people walking around just normally with surgical masks on. And when we asked the person that was wrangling us what that was about, and they said that it was a respect thing, that if somebody had a cold, they would wear the mask so they didn't spread the cold to somebody else. And it was just, this whole thing where people were respectful to one another to the point where they didn't want each other to get sick if they were sick. And I just remember like going like, why don't we do this shit? you know? If you're sick, why are you gonna sit in your office cubicle and just like blah blah and just like,
Right,
all
spreading the germs everywhere.
all over everybody else, because like God knows, like we've all been in those situations where you're at work and you can't go anywhere and someone's in another booth dying over there and you're like, ah, fuck, I'm next.